Welcome back to his Quick Workshop. My name is Yuchel. Today we'll be building a perimeter trip alarm that uses 12 gauge shotgun blanks. This is not a firearm. It's not intended to shoot anything. There's no chamber, no barrel. It is not a firearm. Plus, they are readily available commercially that you can buy for around $40 to $50 each, but we're going to make one today. So what is a perimeter trip alarm and why would you want one? Well, it is something that uses typically shotgun blanks like this with no projectile, or sometimes they use shotgun primers, and you use a tripwire so that if you have an intruder on your property or your campsite, it ignites it and warns you of that somebody's in your area. And most of the time, it will also scare that person away. It is intended to be used outdoors, not inside, because of the fire damage. And even though it does not contain any projectiles and is filled with gunpowder, it does generate some sparks, so you don't want to set your carpet or anything like that on fire. And just like playing with firecrackers, there's always a danger of hurting yourself, so you got to be careful with it. Now, why would you want to build one? Well, if you're into camping, it will come in handy. A few years ago, we took our travel trailer and went camping at a state RV park. And during the first night, somebody came over to our campsite and stole some of our stuff that we had left under our awning. Real nice Fisker axe, cooking utensils like marshmallow roasting sticks. So my daughter the next day couldn't understand why we couldn't start a fire or roast marshmallows. Pretty sad, right? Well, if you have something like this, you can run a fishing line or any other tripwire around your campsite at night so that if somebody tries to steal stuff, it'll ignite and let you know. And that person will most likely be scared and run away anyway. Or if you're into hunting and there's danger for bears, you can set a perimeter around you while you're camping, and there's a potential to scare that bear away, keeping you safe. Or if you just have a property that's just a magnet for thieves, you might want to install one on your fence gate or your garage door or whatever. If not for any of those reasons, it's just fun to play with one. If you choose to build one, you're responsible for your own safety. This video is for educational purposes only. Let's get started. So we found the center. This is the end where we will machine a pocket for holding the shell. It'll slide in and there will be a hole for the firing pin. Now, based on my research, the firing pins range around 100 thousandths in diameter. For example, Remington 870 pump action shotgun has 103,000 diameter firing pin, so I think that'd be a good one to model after. So I'm gonna start with drilling the hole. Let's start at 110 thousandths, give us a little clearance. We're going to bore this out to 807 thousandths in diameter. 106 thousandths. We're 1 thou shy. Let's take a spring pass. Now we're 1 thou over. Sometimes you just can't win. That's alright. We are ready to machine out a slot on this one end to allow the shell to slide in and out. We got all of the machining done except we need to machine a groove for the shotgun shell to slide in. To do that, we're going to use the boring head, and this is the boring bar that I made in one of the videos. Be sure to check it out. And this is a 1/8 inch diameter high-speed steel bit. I freehand ground a tip on it, and that's what we're going to use. Nice and tight. Alright, we got the stock flipped upside down, and we're gonna mill out where the firing pin's gonna go. We're gonna go all the way down except leave the last 1/2 of an inch. We're going to drill and tap 3/4 of an inch for 1/2 by 20 thread. That's where the end cap will go on. The tap I have is not conducive to power tapping, so we're gonna do it the good old-fashioned way. Hey, let's take a quick look at where we are. Just got done deburring with some files, hand files. Make it nice and smooth. Now this is the end where the firing pin will go. And we're going to make the firing pin out of this W1 drill rod. 600 thousandth will be the length of the tip of the firing pin, and it'll be 103 thousandths in diameter. See how it fits in the firing pin hole? That's good. Let's clean up that shoulder. Don't you just hate it when I forget to hit the record button? I don't know where I stopped off, but anyway. .360, I'm calling that close enough. I like that. Alright, now we gotta turn this portion down to 1/4 of an inch. But that's pretty long and pretty skinny, and it's just not gonna be easy because it's gonna want to deflect. So we're gonna machine this down in 2 steps. We'll grab it, choke it down to here, we'll turn this down, and then we'll finish the rest. Let's put a life center on it. Well, let's finish turning down the rest of it. Okay, this is how it looks right now. Firing pin goes in and spring goes in, and now we're gonna make the end plug that keeps the spring in, and we'll make it out of 6061 aluminum that I have on hand. Machine a relief for the thread. Now before we part this off, we're going to drill a hole for the firing pin to fit through. Flip this around, let's clean up the other end. Now we want to machine a square head on that end cap, but we're going to use the main body as the indexing block. Now I had to stop what I was doing because I forgot I need a stop so I can rotate this. So sorry about that, but we'll resume here. Now we'll measure and see how much further we got to go. We'll take another 100,000 off on each side. Nice thing about using this body as an indexing block is that when you tighten it, it lines up perfectly, which is great if you suffer from OCD like me. Before we finish off by heat treating the firing pin, we need to drill a couple holes. First one is for this pin. That will act as a trigger. We'll drill a hole, goes in there, and you can tie a string to a fishing line or whatever. That'll be tied to the tripping wire. It'll simply pull the pin and allow the firing pin to advance and ignite the blank. Another hole is at the end of the pin. We're gonna put this round ring there so we can pull the firing pin easier. Quickly deburr the holes. Let's put it together and see how it looks. Again, we haven't heat treated the pin yet. Like that. You'll notice I drilled 2 holes off camera. That is so you can use screws to attach this to whatever you want to attach to, like fence posts or whatnot. But there are times when you just won't be able to use screws. So we're gonna machine grooves on 4 edges here, so you can use zip ties. That way you can mount it to things that you don't want to damage. Alright, we'll just file the edges smooth and we're good to go. Okay, let's get ready to heat treat. I took an acetone and thoroughly cleaned the part. You don't want any oil or anything grease left on it. And we're going to use the stainless steel foil heat treating tool wrap. What it does is it prevents or reduces greatly the scaling you'll get when you heat treat. There are 2 types, 309 and 321. 309 goes to higher temperature. I can't remember. I want to say 321 goes to 1900 degrees Fahrenheit. This one goes to like 2000 or 2100. I can't remember. But we're not going to go anywhere near that. Anyway, this is what I use. Make sure you don't cut yourself with it. You basically just use scissors or shears to cut it to the size you want. And basically you're making a little pocket. Again, this will cut your fingers, so be careful. I like to double fold. Just go slow and resist the temptation to like rub going sideways. That's a good way to cut your finger. Okay, now once you have the three sides formed, I take a roll or something like this and then use that to flatten it. It just helps seal that edge better. Now we'll put the part in there. And then we're gonna put a small piece of paper in there. What it does is when it gets hot, the paper will ignite and consume the oxygen in there. It also helps with further scaling. Now the firing pin is small enough you can use a torch to heat treat it, but I'm spoiled. My wife loves me for some reason and lets me buy tools that I think I need. Anyway, so I have this Hotshot 360 heat treating oven from Barzy Industrial. Stan Zinkoski hand builds these. He has now 1200, which is bigger, and duplex, which is two oven combo. You might want to check him out. I really love this thing. Let's quickly take a look at the parts that we made. First, here's a firing pin. After heat treating, I took it to my bench grinder. I have a Scotch-Brite wheel on my bench grinder and give it a quick buff. It does an awesome job of cleaning up. Now, when I took this out of the oven, I ended up fumbling a little bit and the part cooled down a little more than I like. So the hardness came out a little less than what I was shooting for, but that's alright. It's still perfectly suitable for what we're doing. But man, the Scotch-Brite wheel does an amazing job, doesn't it? Now, this is end cap we made. Hindsight being 2020, I probably should have made this out of steel because you can see the pin is wearing a groove. I may replace that at some point. I can easily replace this with a hex head bolt with a hole drilled in the middle, so it's no big deal. Now here's the main body. Like I said, I drilled 2 holes so I can screw this to whatever object that I want to mount. But this groove will really come in handy if I try to use a zip tie to secure this to a tree or whatever. I think that part came out pretty good, except my fingerprints. I think the most challenging part of the whole project is probably the slot right here and machining the groove for the shotgun shell to fit in. But you know, if you take your time, be patient, and use your boring head, you can do that without, you know, any special tools. So let's put this together. Now let's give this a try. I'm wearing ear protection, eye protection, and again, this is a field blank for training your dogs. Did not work. You don't want to grab that by the hand in case there's a delayed detonation. I sharpened the tip of the firing pin a little more. Let's give it a go. The end of the firing pin had to be narrower to make a divot. See how the shell has expanded? That's because unlike a shotgun, there is no chamber that is providing the support. So even though there is no projectile, just the gunpowder, there's enough pressure to make it swell out. But that's pretty cool. That was fun. Let's try again. Well, that works well. Remember, if you choose to build one, it is intended to use blank shots, even though your normal ammunition will still fit and it will ignite. You're responsible for your own safety and safety of those around you. But if you're really curious about what it's like to shoot a regular bird shell or buckshot through this, I'll link a YouTube channel in the description of this video where the gentleman experiments with different ammunition, again for educational purposes only, but it's highly entertaining. So until next time, thanks for watching.